When I began teaching in the late 70s, there were a large number of special schools which catered for children with special or individual needs. Over the years, there has been a move to catering for these children, where possible, within mainstream schools. So to begin at the beginning, how are children identified in schools as having individual or special needs? This can start with preschool. Children may come with a play plan, which is quite common, for example, with children with autism, which involves strategies outlined by health visitors who are responsible for monitoring the development of children from birth. In severe cases, they may arrive with their own assessment. In other cases, it is teachers who identify children with special needs. If they have a concern, they may ring the child's health visitor to get information. Most infant schools hold a special needs audit around the end of the first half of the autumn term, which is for children they have concerns about. They look at the things that the children can and can't do in English and maths, and where they are in terms of social development, and compare the results with where they should be. This assessment highlights their needs, and depending on the severity and on how the school budget is allocated, these children will receive extra support. There is a further assessment at the end of year 1, when children are 5 going on 6. This is a national test and is held at the same time throughout the country. It is a phonics reading test. Children are presented with a mixture of 40 real and pseudo made-up words, and using their phonetic knowledge, they should produce the sounds. This test serves as a further way of identifying children with individual needs. The Special Educational Needs and Disability Act 2001 and the Disability Discrimination Act 2005 require schools to make reasonable provisions to ensure pupils with disabilities or special needs are provided with the same opportunities as those who are not disabled. So, how in practical terms do schools cater for these individual needs? Every school or group of schools has a SENCO, a Special Educational Needs Coordinator. If a teacher has a concern about a child, he or she will take that concern and discuss it with the SENCO. The SENCO will then liaise with the class teacher and also with other professional bodies, for example, the educational psychologist. These have the specialist knowledge necessary. They will then assess the child and give guidance to his or her class teacher. If deemed necessary, the child will then receive additional help in the classroom, most often from a teaching assistant, a TA, who should have received some special training for this. Children with individual needs are continually monitored, and there are regular CAF, Common Assessment Framework meetings, which are multi-agency meetings. In severe situations, children may be statemented, in which case the school will receive extra money from the local authority to help support the child. This may include not only support with learning, but also, for example, the installation of ramps for wheelchairs. So what is a statement? Well, a statement is a document which sets out a child's special educational needs and any additional help that the child should receive. The aim of the statement is to make sure that every child gets the right support to enable him or her to make progress in school, both educational and non-educational. The statementing progress can take up to 26 weeks and is reviewed annually. Once a child has been statemented, he or she may receive a place in a special school or may remain in mainstream with substantial extra funding from the local authority. The extra help and support provided for mainstream schools may take many forms, in addition to having support during lessons. Sometimes children may be taken out of a lesson and taught separately. For example, they may spend time with a reading or maths recovery teacher. In some cases, children come to schools with little or no English, and so they receive considerable language work, as may indeed their mothers. Gifted and talented children from different schools may come together in special groups for work appropriate to their level. I mentioned earlier that every school or group of schools has a SENCO, a special needs coordinator. A SENCO must be a qualified teacher who has or who undertakes within 3 years of being appointed a national award in special educational needs coordination. The SENCO has an important role to play, together with the head teacher and governing body, in delivering the strategic development of the school's special educational needs policy and provision. Ideally, the SENCO should be a part of the school's leadership team. The SENCOs oversee the day-to-day operation of the school's special educational needs policy, supports the identification of children by coordinating their provision and monitoring their progress, liaises with parents and external agencies, and they ensure that the school keeps the records of all pupils up to date. Obviously, the SENCOs work very closely with teachers and offer them help and advice too. The situation at secondary level, age 11 plus, is much the same as at primary. The parents of children with special needs get first pick when it comes to choosing a school. As I mentioned earlier, there are still a small number of schools for those with severe needs. Most children with conditions like ASD, autism, Asperger's, cerebral palsy, and many more, even some with Down syndrome, may stay in mainstream schools. Now, all secondary schools have really good, well-trained SEN departments to support them. Individuals will have funding attached to them that schools can use to support them, and some children even have one-to-one support in every lesson. Schools are often now linked in groups to have either their own or shared specialist in areas like dyslexia or ADHD, attention deficient and hyperactivity disorder. These specialists train and support mainstream staff as well as helping the pupils. Teachers have to provide differentiated work for all pupils in their classes, which, of course, involves a lot of additional work. In recent years, a large number of children have been identified as having ASD, autistic spectrum disorder. This can range from mild autistic tendencies to Asperger's to moderate, then severe autism. Most teachers will usually have 1 or 2 such pupils in every class. Teachers, therefore, have a range of distraction toys in their classrooms, such as softballs to squeeze, pebbles to rub, shells, scribble pads, and even giant cushions for them to lie or sit on when things get difficult. Teachers also use brain gyms and other such activities to help children release energy but stay on task. brain gyms are used to give hyperactive and ADHD children the opportunity to release pent-up energy. Working on the theory that children need an oxygen boost to their brains and children with special needs need a break, in fact, many children can only concentrate for 20 minutes, 3 minutes of physical activity is planned within a 40-minute lesson. For example, number games, throwing a beanbag to the person whose turn it is to answer, and a runaround, where you have a trail of questions and answers on the wall around the room, and pupils follow the trail to get points. All the activities involve movement, thinking skills, and staying alert, because you need to listen and don't know when it will be your turn. Within an 80-minute lesson, a teacher may plan 2 3-minute breaks, one brain gym and one working in small groups to solve a puzzle. Teachers try to relate the activities to whatever learning is happening in the main lesson. This provides great reinforcement and is fun too, of course. Children with severe special educational needs in mainstream schools usually have booster lessons, reading, writing, etc., and receive regular time with specialist teachers out of class. Sometimes they may even come out of lessons for part of the time to work on a tricky topic. Within a regular class, they will often have a teaching assistant working with them, and the class teacher will make differentiated resources and visual aids to help them to learn. Information technology plays a large part in UK schools, which makes it easier to differentiate within the class and support both the gifted children who need extension work and those with special educational needs. In some schools in the UK, every pupil has a mobile device, but most classes will at least have access to tablets or laptops with backup and support material. Every UK classroom will have an interactive whiteboard linked to the teacher's computer with access to lots of materials, including support resources. Most secondary schools have an online learning environment. Basically, the main parts of all lessons are available online, so pupils, teachers, teaching assistants and parents can access it and go through it again with children. Teachers can send pupils links to booster or extension activities if they need it. So to conclude, it can be said that while there still are some special schools, catering for children with individual and special needs is the responsibility of mainstream schools. Teachers, together with the help of SENCOs and various professional bodies, and on a day-to-day level working with teaching assistants, provide the necessary material for children in their classes with individual needs. On average, a fifth of children in UK schools have some kind of special need. And so it goes without saying that this increases considerably the workload of mainstream teachers. Thank you.